Hi, I am Carla Taylor, and I am here at this fabulous Social Media Week Lima conference that the theme is Emerge. And this is such a perfect theme for me right now, this year, today even, of everything that, well, I think collectively we've all been through so much in the past 3 years. We all, as an entire planet, went through the pandemic, and it's been a lot of emerging out of all of that. And so that's already been happening in my life, but for me in particular, this year right now, I'm going through major transitions. So I have, my children are now empty nesters. I actually have triplets who are all leaving home. And so I'm getting to figure out this new version of my life and who I am and what I want my own dream life to be. And then I'm helping other people live their dreams. I have a program called Dream Makers. It's an event that I do publicly, but it can also come and do for different companies and things. But it's a way for people to come and share what their impossible dreams are, share their dreams, share their obstacles, and really help everybody else in the room do some connecting or problem solving or obstacle removing so that people get so excited and energized by this event. It has been a fabulous
It's okay, it'll get edited. It's gonna be edited.
Okay, so we've had such an incredible community response. We had over 79 people. We had 79 people register, and almost 70 people showed up for this just magical event. And we are now doing it for other companies and organizations as well to really connect people in a powerful and inspiring way. I personally also have been through. I personally have been through my own spiritual journey and reemergence to a place that I had been years before, but I'm more.
Take a pause. It's okay. Let's pause and let's just start that over. Like, start with the, just tell the spiritual part again.
Okay.
Like, so I've been on my spiritual journey. Just start that part over.
So I personally have been on a spiritual journey. And I had in the past been a very, very strong Christian, and I had a very strong relationship with God. And then I decided lots of things happened, and I was questioning everything, and I was exploring everything and all sorts of other types of spirituality. And I didn't like a lot of the way Christians were showing up around me, or people were really, legalistic, and all of the things that I was like, you know what, I don't know if this is even right, and this is all human beings saying these things, so I'm going to go off on this whole world exploration. I went to all sorts of different conferences in all sorts of different cities and places, and had some pretty powerful experiences, but at the end of the day, I realized that I still was missing a huge something. And I kept thinking, well, I just need to be stronger. My goal was equanimity. I wanted to be steady in any circumstance. As the world kept shaking and shifting and moving, I thought, this is what I need to do, is to get to this level of enlightenment or whatever. And I did. I actually got there a few times on, my own strength. And I stayed there for a few weeks, but then it never lasted. And I would then beat myself up because I'm like, oh my gosh, how did that not last? And why am I, of all people who now know better, still not strong enough? And that's the thing, I'm not strong enough. I cannot do this on my own. And in the last 4 weeks, I had this massive awakening and even a dark night of the soul to understand that I am not where I need to be, and I cannot do this without God. And I saw so fully in such a resounding way that I need to not only be having a relationship with God, and because last fall I actually thought I was coming back to God. I thought I was going through the workforce chaplain course, and I was doing all these things. I was reaching out to people to pray with me, so I thought I was back, actually. I thought I was there already. And then I realized that I had multiple things happen that were like wide open doors, and everything that opened up, I was like, oh wow, this is why the last thing didn't work. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then the door would slam shut hard. And it kept happening faster and faster. And people had given me money up front and done all these things and promised all these things, and then they were gone in a blink of an eye. And I'm like, what is happening? And so this last 4 weeks, I heard such a strong answer that I need to not just pray and say oh, hey God, can you answer this? And he'd say, yes, here you go. And I'd be like, okay, great, thanks, got it from here. And I didn't got it from here. And what I found out in this last time frame, even though every single part of it seemed like it was a godly answer, it wasn't. And what I was lacking was a daily conversation and relationship. And I had this huge aha because one of my sons moved out and he only ever contacts me when he needs something. I don't hear from him the rest of the time. It makes me sad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's actually how God feels when we're not talking to him and we're only asking him for the big stuff. And so that broke my heart, actually, that I've been doing that. And so I started really leaning in and getting still and getting quiet. I am not a sit still and get quiet person. I am a person who runs out and takes bold action and makes things happen. And I had to stay still. I was so convicted deeply. I heard some really cool and hard things from a Christian conference that I was actually on, and they talked about this prophecy that the king has left the room, that all of the strong Christian leaders who say they're having God at the center, they're not keeping God at the center. They're not actually paying attention to God, even if they say they are. They're so busy, they're running around, they're urgent, all the things. And so I realized that was true for me. And the words of the king has left the room just hurt my heart so deeply. And I stayed still and I heard nothing. I heard absolutely nothing. I stayed at my house for a week, just enjoying the beautiful nature of this lake that I had moved out to and nourishing my body and doing all the things, but I didn't do anything for business. I just mostly prayed all day or sat and enjoyed nature, and that was hard. Like that was hard. I love nature, but I don't sit around and enjoy nature like that. The next week I went for a week at my sister's horse farm, and that was beautiful and amazing and inspiring and wonderful, but I still wasn't hearing any answers. And so then I came home and I had to face my reality again, and it was hard again, and I felt like I was needing to wait for the noise. And so I came home and I had to face all my reality again, and I started taking some actions that I felt like I was being told to, like selling my old engagement ring or working on finishing my Career Happiness Project book that I'd written 7 years earlier and never got published. And so I was working on those things that 4th week. And at the end of that week, my cousin Caleb, who's just this incredible career warrior, and I'll tell you the story of Caleb at another time, but normally he responds right away when I reach out, and I had reached out 2 weeks earlier and he had not responded at all, not even to acknowledge that he'd gotten my prayer request. And he sent me the next day, this past Friday, he reached out to me on text and he said, Carla, God has put you on my heart. He told me to send you this song. And then he's weeping, and he's like, I can't even describe this incredible love and compassion that Jesus has for you that I am feeling. Like it's indescribable. It's so overwhelming. It's so much. And he didn't know any of the story that I just told, but the song that he sent me was The King is in the Room. And I just was like, I mean, wow. Like, for sure, God was showing me and telling me that he saw me and that he heard me and he listened to me. And so that for me was also the moment that I realized I do want to go ahead and sign up for Girl Power Alliance, which I had encountered over the last 4 weeks, and I decided to wait and just see. And normally I would have signed up, well before that day, but I went ahead and waited to see, and I was so surrounded by love and support and prayers, even without joining. Like, it was already feeding my soul and giving me what I needed. And so after I got the message from Caleb, I decided to go ahead and join. And it's unlike anything I've ever been. It's a personal and professional development platform. So I'm the product. I'm not selling any other product. I am actually going and getting my own transformation and learning. And I've done all this other types of leadership transformation, and this one has the Holy Spirit in the middle of it. And it's not about condemning anyone or a lot of the things that a lot of people associate with Christianity and judgment. It really is people who are keeping Christ at the center and focusing and keeping their eyes locked on Jesus. And I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I've never, ever openly talked about my faith in a business setting, and I'm doing it. And I am being bold for Jesus, and I am saying these things out loud that I know a lot of people are judging Christians, because Christians are their own worst enemy and often showing up so badly in the world. They're actually hurting what should be all about Jesus, all about God. And so that's where I'm keeping my eyes focused. That's the hand that I'm holding throughout every day. That's the relationship I'm having an ongoing conversation throughout each day. And that's what I'm immersing myself in. And this is such an opportunity to also be prepared for the economic tsunami that is coming. And there's going to be even more and more hurting and pain and loss and fear. And I started looking for passive income, and that's how I came across this. And so it's also not only an opportunity to get filled and be poured into as you're pouring out to others, but also to pour into your bank account and actually make some money from it and help other people build their bank accounts. And so I'm just getting started. I'm really excited, and I hope that you'll come and just find out if this is something that you're being called to do.